मुक़द्दसा की मुबारकबाद. As usual, we'll start with the roundup of this week's activities. As we speak, the Prime Minister, His Excellency Mr. Mohammad Shahbaz Sharif, is in the United States. He's there at the invitation of the U.S. President Donald J. Trump in Washington, visiting Washington, D.C. to attend the inaugural session of the Board of Peace being held today. The Prime Minister is accompanied by the Deputy Prime Minister and foreign ministers and other senior officials. In addition to attending the inaugural session of the Board of Peace, the Prime Minister will also interact with the senior US leadership, as well as his counterparts attending the meeting from different countries. The occasion will also provide an opportunity for discussions on matters of bilateral as well as global issues of concern. We'll keep you posted of the activities of the Prime Ministers in Washington, D.C. in coming hours. Earlier, the Deputy Prime Minister was and Foreign Minister Senator Mohammad Ishaq Dar was in New York yesterday for a hectic one-day engagement at the United Nations. He attended a high-level briefing of the UN Security Council on the situation in Palestine, which was chaired by the British Foreign Secretary in her capacity as the President of the UN Security Council. We just issued a press release on this event, which I'm sure you must have covered. On the sidelines, he has held important meetings with his counterparts to discuss issues of mutual concerns. Um, first of all, he also met the ambassador of Palestine, the permanent representative of Palestine, Ambassador Riyad Mansour, um, uh, permanent representative of the Palestine to the to the United Nations. Mr. Mansour thanked Pakistan for its steadfast and principled support for Palestine cause, including at the United Nations, and appreciated the leading role in advocating for Palestinian people at all fora. The DPM and FM also held meeting with the Foreign Minister of Egypt, Mr. Badr Abdul Ate. They reviewed bilateral relations and expressed satisfaction with ongoing cooperation across multiple sectors, reaffirming the importance of close coordination. The two leaders also reviewed situation in Gaza, the West Bank, and all regional developments, stressing adherence to international law and the need for immediate and unhindered humanitarian access into the occupied territories, particularly Gaza. The DPM-FM also met with Mr. Sugiano, the Foreign Minister of Indonesia. They reviewed bilateral ties and expressed satisfaction at the depth and strength of the long-standing brotherly relations between Pakistan and Indonesia. The two leaders also exchanged views on regional and international developments, particularly the support in Gaza and the West Bank, and agreed to work closely for a joint, lasting, and comprehensive peace in Palestine in line with international law and relevant UN resolutions. The Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister, Senator Ishaq Dar, received a joint delegation of the Economic Pakistan American Council, EPAC, and the United Muslims American Association, UMAA. The DPM-FM acknowledged the significant role of the U.S. private sector in strengthening Pak-U.S. trade and economic cooperation, and their vital role in contributing to civil society organization, promoting interfaith harmony, deeper people-to-people contact, and cultural ties between the two countries. Ladies and gentlemen, earlier the Prime Minister was in Vienna, Austria for a 2-day official visit. He undertook this visit at the invitation of His Excellency Christian Stocker, the Federal Chancellor of Austria, the Prime Minister of Pakistan. The visit marked the 70th anniversary of Pakistan-Austria bilateral diplomatic relations. The visit, the first by a Pakistani Prime Minister in over 3 decades, including bilateral talks focusing on strengthening cooperation. This was discussed at the in-depth bilateral formal discussions between the Prime Minister and the Federal Chancellor of Austria. Both sides reaffirmed their commitment to expanding collaboration in trade, investment, tourism, education, healthcare, IT, human resource development, and the bilateral relations were grounded in shared support for multilateralism and international law. The Prime Minister also chaired the Pakistan Austria Business Forum organized by the Austrian Economic Chamber, the WKO. A joint statement issued by Austria and Pakistan a joint statement was issued at the successful conclusion of the visit. I'm sure you must have covered the joint statement. Summarizing it, the statement basically reaffirmed commitment of the two leaderships to multilateralism, the UN system, and a rule-based global order while discussing global developments in cooperation in peace, security, sustainable development, and human rights. They highlighted the uh, potential to increase bilateral trade, investment, tourism, education, IT, healthcare, and human resource development, and agreed to finalize relevant MOUs. Our Prime Minister invited Austrian business leaders and groups to EU Pakistan Business Forum in Islamabad, an extended invitation to Chancellor Stoker to visit Pakistan at future mutually convenient dates. Whilst in Austria, the Prime Minister also met Rafael Mariano Grossi, the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency. The Prime Minister, the two sides discussed the vital role of IAEA in advancing peaceful uses of nuclear technology and strengthening global nuclear safety and security. And our Prime Minister wished his best wishes for his continued efforts of the IAEA in promoting peaceful uses of nuclear technology and sustainable development. The Deputy Prime Minister in Austria also had a series of engagements. He addressed a high-level event at the United Nations office in Vienna titled Sustainable Development, Pathway for Global Peace and Prosperity, highlighting the strong link between peace and development and Pakistan's commitment to the UN Charter and multilateralism. This event was attended by a number of UN agencies, heads, which are based in Vienna, namely the International Atomic Energy Agency, United Nations Industrial Development Organization, United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes, and United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs. The three MOUs that were inked during the visit to the UN offices, one was related to IAEA. Our Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister signed these MOUs on behalf of Pakistan. And this event was witnessed also by our Prime Minister. The first such MOU was on collaborating center between INMOL, Lahore, and International Atomic Energy Agency. This INMOL, as you know, is the hospital for cancer treatment. And under this MOU, INMOL was designated as an IAEA collaborating center for cancer research and nuclear medicine. An agreement, two other MOUs were signed with the UNODC, a country program for Pakistan, and a country partnership program for 2026 to 2030. Before leaving for Austria, the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister held two important telephone conversations. One was with the Egyptian Foreign Minister, Dr. Badr Abdul Ate, and the second was with the Foreign Minister of Saudi Arabia, Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud, and discussion focused on the evolving regional situation, forthcoming international engagements, and our Prime Minister and the other two agreed to remain in close contacts. Ladies and gentlemen, this week the Federal Minister for Planning, Development and Special Initiative, Professor Ahsan Iqbal, attended the oath-taking ceremony of the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, His Excellency Mr. Tariq Rahman. This ceremony held in Dhaka on 17th February. Our minister met the Prime Minister of Bangladesh and conveyed warm felicitation. He also extended an invitation on behalf of the Prime Minister to the Bangladeshi Prime Minister to visit Pakistan. They also discussed enhanced cooperation across various domains, including trade, connectivity, revival of SARC, people to people contact, and cultural exchanges. And earlier that day, Prime Minister Hassan Iqbal also called on the chief advisor, Professor Muhammad Yunus. He invited him to visit Pakistan. He also met the opposition leader, Dr. Shafiqur Rahman, at the Parliament building and extended an invitation for a parliamentary delegation from Bangladesh to visit Pakistan. Earlier, he laid wreath at the grave of the former Prime Minister late Begum Khalda Zia, and paid tribute to her contribution to the political landscape in Bangladesh and for bringing Pakistan and Bangladesh closer. The minister also launched 40 publications of Allama Iqbal in Bangla language at the Pakistan High Commission. This event was attended by a number of Pakistani students in Bangladesh as well. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, a joint statement was issued this week by 8 Arab Islamic countries. Egypt, besides Pakistan, it included Egypt, Jordan, UAE, Indonesia, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar, strongly condemning Israelis' decision to designate large areas of the occupied West Bank as state land and to expand settlement and related land registration. They described the move as an illegal escalation aimed at accelerating settlements and considering control over occupied territory. The minister stated that these actions violate international law, including Fourth Geneva Convention, the UN Security Council resolutions, particularly Resolution 2334, and the advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice. They reaffirmed full support to the Palestinian people for their right to self-determination and for the establishment of an independent, viable state of Palestine with Al-Quds al-Sharif as its capital along the pre-1967 borders. So this, ladies and gentlemen, concludes my opening statement. And now the floor is open for question answer.